In this video, we're going to do a quarantine tag on how the coronavirus has affected our lives. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome to The Long Run with Joel and Christy. I'm Joel.
And I'm Christy.
And today we're going to be doing a quarantine tag. We were tagged by
How Debbie Saves.
How Debbie Saves, that's correct. And talking about how the coronavirus has affected our lives. So we're going to just answer a few questions that has been posed to us and kind of give you a little understanding on how our lives have been over the last 2 or 3 months.
First of all, I say our answers are going to probably be a little strange compared to maybe some of the other tagged videos, and that was because we just moved to Orlando this week. We were living in Houston, so we'll have some Houston answers and some Orlando answers.
Correct.
So, all right, let's get to our first question.
All right, so how has work changed for you?
For me, it hasn't changed. I was already just, I work from home. Mainly, I've been doing YouTube videos and writing a blog for over a year now. So nothing really changed as far as my work situation.
But for me, I work in a quick service restaurant in a mall, and when they shut the mall down, they shut they locked all the doors, and so we couldn't go to work. So our location shut down for 6 weeks. I did get on with another operator there in our local area and worked with her for those 6 weeks. Not as much money and not as many hours, but it did help us to continue to stay ahead on our budget. So that's kind of how it changed for me. Once the
That
mall,
was in Houston.
That was in Houston. Yep. Once the mall opened back up, we were able to go back to work, and I took a week getting the store ready, ordering some things, making sure everything was ready to go. And then we opened back up May the 1st, and
I think it was at 25% capacity.
Yeah, we opened up at 25% capacity for the mall, and so that kind of limited the people that were going to come in anyway. So that's kind of how that affected me as far as my work goes. How has home life changed for you? Well, we don't go out as much. We didn't go out a whole lot anyway. But we did some.
We used to go like every Sunday we went out for
did brunch
or something, and so it put a stop to that, obviously. But hey, we saved a ton of money.
Yeah, we did save a ton of money, so it helped us in our move too. So
yeah.
There you go. All right. So, do you know anyone who has tested positive for COVID-19?
My answer is sort of, and it's just one of my best friends from high school. Her son had it, so I kind of know them, you know. Yeah. But I haven't seen them in years, so it was mostly just seeing the Facebook post about it. So.
Yep. And I do know somebody, at least one person that personally, I know them personally that did test positive for COVID-19. So she recovered and she was fine. So.
Yeah.
What's your toilet paper situation? Well, we always stay like we're Wine-Abber, so we stay a month ahead on our budget. We stay at least one pack of toilet paper ahead
in each bathroom.
So it didn't really affect us as bad as it did some other people who weren't quite ready or prepared for that.
Yeah, we have always been like that. We have always stayed one extra pack of toilet tissue in each bathroom, so that we just don't want to get to that point where we're like, oh no, we only have one roll of toilet tissue. Right. Run to the store. So we've always had one extra pack, and as soon as we open up that next pack, we go buy another pack. So we never ran out.
Yep. What are grocery stores like? Well, when it first started, there was a lot of stuff we couldn't find. We had to search around for a lot of things. Yeah. Go to multiple places to get different things, and we had 4 go-to places: H-E-B, Kroger, Walmart, and Aldi. Between those 4, we could find pretty much what we needed most of the time. Now, we'd already stocked up on chicken breasts and things like that we use a lot of, hamburger meat and
we always bought those in bulk.
So we had some of those to start with, but then when we started to run out, we did find those at Aldi more than we found them anywhere else.
Yes, Aldi really came through on the
Yep.
chicken for sure.
Absolutely.
We bought some ground beef at Walmart, but chicken was really the Aldi
Yep.
was the.
And as we went along, as you have seen too, the stores started to replenish things a lot better, and so before we moved, we were pretty much down to just shopping at one store each week.
Able to, able to. And like the week right before we moved, we had gone into Walmart for some other things, and as had become our routine, if we actually went into the store, we did pick up a lot at first, but if we went into the store, we would make that little corner around to where they had the Lysol wipes just to see that, they never had any. But that last week, they had actual Lysol wipes on the shelves.
Yep.
So they were really starting to get to the point where they had almost everything. I think hand soap was the only thing they still didn't have. And
Yep.
maybe dry active yeast, we really struggled to find dry active yeast that whole time.
Yeah. So we found a workaround for my pizza
Yeah,
crust. So.
that's right. We found a recipe that didn't require dry active yeast.
One thing they didn't run out of, Cheetos.
Cheeto, yeah, that's right. Cheetos is his thing. They never ran out of Cheetos, so he was pretty happy about that. But in Orlando, we can't really answer that question because we've only gone grocery shopping one time here. Other than to say they did not have chicken in Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up having to go to Aldi's for that. And
Yep.
we also went to a Publix, and the price of the chicken was insane. So I don't know if it was the chicken shortage that was causing that, but it was like $5.79 per pound.
Yep. Not good.
Not good. So,
All right. So the next question is, what is your city like? Our city kind of shut down. Not a lot. I mean, I did see a lot of people on the roads as I was going back and forth to work.
Houston is a huge medical city
Yep.
too, so I mean a lot of the people could have been going to work in hospitals and stuff. So
Yeah. And so, but the restaurants did shut down. For a while there, it was, you just go to work, go home. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
Before we left, they were starting to open back up pretty good. I think the restaurants were getting back to 75% capacity.
And they had opened some of the water parks.
Correct.
And
They were
stuff,
starting to
so,
open some of those too. So.
at a 25% capacity, I think it was.
Yep.
Something like that. So things were slowly getting there.
Yep.
And obviously here in Orlando, I mean, I'm sure it was very different while, Disney World still hasn't opened up yet.
Mm-hmm.
And Universal just opened up this past week. So I'm sure for a while not having those theme parks going meant there weren't many people on the road and stuff, that they were home.
Right.
But like I said, we just moved here this week, so we don't really know.
Yeah, can't really compare that. If you have kids, what is the situation like? Are they at home or daycare? Our kids are older.
Our youngest is 23.
So he's married and lives in Tennessee. Our oldest son still lives with us. He goes to college, but
it was kind of interesting because even though he lived with us, he had gone to visit his girlfriend who lives in California right before all this happened, and so he got stuck in a shelter-in place in California. So he was gone for 2 months. Our other son, like you said, that lives in Tennessee and is married, works for a theme park, so he hasn't been working for a while. But as far as kids being at home and things that
really affected us.
Yeah, not really.
What are some negative things that have come of this?
Obviously, the main ones, is loss of life and the economy. People have been hurt by losing their jobs. Those are the obvious negatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but one thing that we talked about that was a negative to me, especially, Joel is an introvert, so he has a little bit of a less of a problem than I do. I'm considered an ambivert. I don't know if you know that word, but it basically means you're kind of extroverted and introverted, and it really just depends on the situation you're in. So, I don't particularly care about, 20 questions. I start getting aggravated when people ask me too many questions in a row. Just like, stop. But on the flip side, I'm the kind of person who I like to smile at people in public. I like, for people to say hello to each other. I like to go to restaurants and eat with my family and friends, and you can do that. And instead, what you got was a lot of people who were staying to themselves, obviously for the right reasons. But it's kind of like you go into a store and you walk onto an aisle and you see somebody kind of dart their eyes towards you because they're checking to make sure that you're keeping your 6 feet distance and that you're wearing your mask. And so it just feels a little more disconnected on a personal level to me. And so for somebody who kind of feeds off that, it's kind of hard not to, like, I don't know if they're smiling at me under their mask or if they're frowning or if they're looking at me like, keep your distance. But anyway, that's a little bit of a negative.
All right, so what are some of the positive things that have come of this?
You want to take that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Spending more time with getting your I would say getting your priorities straight. I think that, we were all in a fast-paced society, right? So it slowed us down. It gave us time to, smell the fresh air and and relax. I say all the time, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see me say that all the time, that we have to take care of ourselves too, that we forget about our emotional and mental health and the fact that we need rest and relaxation. And this definitely gave some people more time for rest and relaxation. Not everybody, because some people ended up having to work their jobs in their home and homeschool their kids. Obviously, they haven't had more time to rest. But for a lot of people who, they don't spend the time in cars, commuting an hour both ways to work or, something like that, they're given more time. They were given the gift of time.
Yeah.
So that would be a positive. The other thing is, for people who maybe have been living for years paycheck to paycheck and just thinking it's normal to live that way, and now all of a sudden they've lost their jobs or some of their income, my hope is that they've seen this as an eye-opening experience, and that now they will start making those decisions in the future that will help them get out of debt and get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Like he said, one of the things that was so wonderful for us was because we have been on a debt-free journey for 7 years, and because we use You Need a Budget app for budgeting, we were already several months in advance in our budgeting, so we knew that when he lost income that we had already paid the next month's bills. They were, budgeted for next month's bills and groceries and everything. So we knew we were good for at least a couple of months without having to touch even an emergency fund.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe another, thing would be people realizing the need for an emergency fund.
Yep, that's right. And then the last question is, how has your neighborhood changed? For us, we lived in an apartment complex with people that were pretty much kept to themselves. A lot of them were short-time workers in Houston.
Like corporate brought them, corporate office brought them, set them up in the apartment to live there for a short period of time.
So pretty much everybody kept to themselves, and even during the pandemic, people still kept to themselves.
Yeah.
So our neighborhood really didn't change.
Yeah.
Not a lot to say there, but when we moved down here, I think I met more people the first day here than I did the whole time we were in Houston, other than my team members.
Yeah,
One of my neighbors,
our next door neighbor immediately
came over to talk to us. Both this side and this side came over
Yep.
To talk to us when we moved in, and told us about the area. Told us about, because I just remarked about how quiet it is, even though it's in a city. We're kind of out in a country area, I guess, kind of a developing area.
Yeah.
And so it's really quiet out here as opposed to the 4 years we lived in Houston when it was always loud, pretty much 24 hours a day.
We also lived 2 floors above the parking garage entrance, so there was always cars going in and out. So, I mean, obviously it's quieter for that reason too, but there's not as much like talking and out on the street, you know.
So people do seem pretty friendly around here, so that's a good thing. I don't know if that's changed because of COVID, but it seems to be a good thing. Everybody looks out for everybody.
Since we've lived here 3 years, 3 days, we
Yep.
can't really say for sure how they were before,
Right.
but yeah, they were more friendly than the people that we shared the apartment complex with for 3.5 years.
Yep.
So,
All right.
yep.
All right. Well, we want to thank
How Debbie says.
How Debbie Says for tagging us in this video, and you're going to tag.
We're going to tag Rochelle Adamson, YT, and or she used to be Healthy Budget Travel Love, but she changed it to Rochelle Adamson, and we look forward to her responses.
That's right. All right. So that's it today for the Long Run with Joel and Chrissy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for updates from us, and
be sure to check out the other channels.
be sure to check out our
How
other
Debbie
channels.
Saves and Rochelle.
Yep. Be sure to check out their channels. Click one of those videos that's flying around for more content from us. And for the Long Run with Joel and Chrissy, I'm Joel.
And I'm Christy.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.